friends. We just pressed the Let's Go Live button over here on our end, and it's a beautiful Monday. So let's wait for the tubes to fire up all across the fruited plain of the interwebs before we go ahead and get started. Got to make sure there's a connection. Sometimes the feds clog the tubes over the weekends. We don't like when they do that, so get out of here, feds. It looks like we've connected. That's tremendous news. We can go ahead and get started. So let's do it, shall we? Hello, my friends, and welcome back to yet another episode of Watching the Watchers Live, the show that spotlights misconduct involving police, prosecutors, and politicians. My name is Robert Gouveia. I am a criminal defense attorney, and today we're talking about Jack Smith and his use of force policy and what they submitted to the judge in order to execute the raid at Mar-a-Lago. But something else has happened after the raid. We know that happened, and now we see a lot of the documentation that supported the raid of Trump's residence, where they took photographs of Melania and Barron's bedroom for whatever reason. They conducted the raid. They told us it was all above board, all normal, but turns out there was a use of force policy in there. And we know when the FBI conducts other raids, they kill people sometimes. Not all the time, but it happens. In fact, there was one that happened this weekend. Rest in peace to that guy. Sitting at home, hanging out, at feds show up, you're dead. How's that? For justice in America. Don't think that he got a search warrant for a death penalty, but he's now dead. So anyways, point is, they raided Trump's residence, and there was a use of force policy in there. Trump came out, he had a bunch to say about the use of force policy, and now Jack wants him gagged. Doesn't like when Trump can talk and make them look like the little monsters they are. So their only alternative is to shut him up. They requested a gag in Florida. Trump's team has responded to that, saying this whole thing is unconstitutional. And quite frankly, it's egregious for the DOJ to be demanding such a thing in the middle of a 2024 election season. They want Trump silenced because what they're saying is true. Now, there's this big debate over whether the FBI was actually wanting to go eliminate Trump. And my friends, I'm not sure that they set out with a primary mission to take him out. But if it would have happened, let's just say it would have been, there would have been some people over there who said, oh, their reaction would have been like this. Oh, you're kidding. Oh no, something happened to Trump. Oh man, that's a tragedy. Okay, that's what their reaction looked like. Whatever the adjective is to explain that. That's what it would look like. So we're going to go through this because Trump's team responded. They said, your request for a gag is completely unconstitutional. Jack Smith is a thug, and we'll read through it. But it's not only Trump's team who is fighting back against this unconstitutional gag in the middle of an election. It's also 24 states, baby, also joining in. And I'm ashamed to say Arizona's not on the list. All right. We're just not. We're going through a weird phase right now here in Arizona. We're working on it. We're going to do our best this next season. But 24 other states, you're going to see if your state is on the list. Hopefully it is. Alabama's on the list and many others. Alaska, Tennessee, Ohio. 24 states all joining in on behalf of Trump, asking permission from Judge Eileen Cannon in the Southern District of Florida if they can also get involved in this case to stop this gag from moving forward, because obviously it's unconstitutional. And so we'll read through that as well. We've got 2 Florida filings. They're both good. I think this stuff is very important. We'd like to be able to hear from our president, especially when the FBI is trying to eliminate him. We'll go through all that. And then we had this interesting thing happen today. We haven't had Karine on this channel for quite some time. I know it's been a nice break. Trust me, I know. But we're going to wreck that today because we got to listen to Karine, because they have a new tactic to explain Joe Biden's dementia. They're calling them deep fakes, or in Karine's parlance, cheap fakes. Oh, I wonder how much they paid a consultant for this little stupid detour down dementia lane. Karine came out and explained this was happening over the weekend. See that's a little grab by Obama, grabbing the hand, the wrist of Joe and saying, okay, Joe, it's time for bed. Let's go. It's past your bedtime. Okay, we're going to get your ice cream. We're going to brush your teeth and you're going to go right to bed. So they dragged him off the stage, and Karine came out today and they said, hey, Karine, looks like a bunch of people are dragging Joe Biden around. For example, here is Giorgia Meloni in Italy when she was flipping him around. Hey, doofus, over here. Hey, dummy. That guy already landed, okay? He's putting his parachute away. Shh, come over here. Flip him around over there. The president is leaning on the King of England. We'll watch that clip. He's kind of like, where the hell am I going? Using him as like a walker. And then, of course, we had the Obama handhold off the stage. So Karine comes out and he says, they're good friends. Leave Joe Biden alone. He's doing a great job. You guys are being very ageist or something. And she says it's all deep fakes or cheap fakes. So don't believe your lying eyes. And we don't know what Karine's so upset about. There's never been any deep fakes of her that we're aware of. We've never seen anything quite like it. So we'll go through some of those and see what Joe Biden said when he was on the stage there in California, hanging out with all the Holly weirdos, all coming up in the third segment. And so as you can see, my friends, it's a beautiful Monday. Hopefully all the incredible fathers out there had amazing Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. Hopefully it was an amazing celebration. We had a great time. Mama made pot roast and potatoes and carrots and apple turnovers. It was delicious. We had a great time. And we had a triple date. Went out with Joey and his girlfriend. We saw Inside Out, I think the movie number 2. It was a great weekend. So I had a lot of fun spending time with the people that we love. Hopefully you were able to do the same. And we're grateful that you're joining us. We also had some great streams over the weekend on Saturday for our membos. We love our membos. Thanks for joining us as a membo on Locals or on YouTube where we do our member streams. We also hang out with locals afterwards and do a members only after party. We also have our website, robertgovea.com, which is where the PDFs that I'm about to go through here today, we put them up over there as soon as we're done. We have our merch store, our calendars over there. Sign up for our newsletter so you get all this stuff delivered to your inbox. And then in like 2 weeks from now, on June 29th, we're going to Las Vegas, baby. Trump International Hotel, Las Vegas. We're going to be there from 12 to 5. Tickets at watcherlodge.com. Come show up in person and come meet everybody. We're going to have some fun activities, some meet and greets, some Q&A, some photos. We're going to get to know each other and have some fun. So come check it out. We're going to hang out, have a very nice Trump lunch at watcherlodge.com. Grab your tickets. We'll see you. We'll see you over there in Las Vegas, baby. It's going to be crazy. All right. And the debate is 2 days before our event. Okay. So we'll have a bunch of debate debrief. We'll talk about the debate. We'll see what you guys say. I think we'll fill out our brackets for the election, all the stuff. It'll be fun. All right. So watcherlodge.com, links in the description below. Now, without any further ado, let's get into business on the day. Jack Smith is now on his heels, facing another filing from Trump saying, Jack, you cannot gag me. We know you're trying to cover up your deadly force shenanigans when you raided Mar-a-Lago, but you're not allowed to gag the president from talking about what you did raiding his private residence. So Trump submitted this saying that the entire attempt to silence Trump in the middle of an election season is unconstitutional. It's a nice filing. West Palm Beach Division, Southern District of Florida. We know this is Judge Eileen Cannon presiding. This is Trump's opposition to the motion for a gag that's come out from Jack Smith. Jack wants Trump silenced because Trump said they were trying to kill him. And the FBI said, nuh-uh, we weren't trying to kill you, but we could have if we needed to. And we say, yeah. So that means that you gave your agents permission to execute deadly force if you needed to do it. And they say, no, it says you can't use deadly force unless these other things happen. So there is permission after all. And they said, well, it's just like every other raid. And we said, yes, other raids where other people die. But that was not going to happen here for the president or something, really. But it was the same as every other case. So then when Trump came out and exposed all of this, there was a big freak out from the administration. We never were going to eliminate him. We were never going to assassinate or take him out. No. We weren't taking pictures of Melania's bedroom for any other reason. We were just gathering evidence that they then manipulated and mishandled, shaking the boxes up, documents out of order, placeholders not connected. The whole thing is messed up. So it was a raid by basically a criminal organization to come in there and ransack his property. They took pictures of his wife's bedroom, for crying out loud. Why? Did she have documents in there? No. So then when Trump talked about it, they want to shut him up. It's a cover-up. Gag him so that he can't continue to spread these lies. Okay, this is America. You can lie all you want if you want. Now, Trump is not, unless you're engaging in illegality, that crosses a lie into fraud. But every single politician essentially lies or makes stuff up. Now, I'm not ceding the ground on that, saying that Trump is doing that, but why would you gag him for criticizing your own law enforcement agency? Now, he's criticizing the prosecutors and the FBI, not witnesses, not court clerks or anything else like they always cry about. Anyways, so here is what they're asking for. Now, Trump and his people have responded. You can see here, we've got a nice table of contents that we'll fast forward through, and Trump's defense gets right into it. They say, all right, listen, Judge Cannon, not only have they raided us, now they're trying to shut us up from talking about the raid. This is ridiculous. President Trump respectfully submits this opposition, Your Honor, to Jack Smith's motion trying to gag the president. Now, in Jack Smith's most recent shocking display of overreach and disregard for the Constitution, which we happen to love here, Jack's office now asks Cannon, the judge, to enter an unconstitutional gag order as one of the release conditions over the leading candidate in the 2024 presidential election. Now, like Alvin Bragg from New York, Jack, seeks to restrict Trump's campaign speech right as the first presidential debate approaches at the end of the month. Jack's motion goes even one step further. And now his efforts are trying to interfere with this 2024 election. And he's trying to help Joe Biden by seeking improper restrictions on Trump's core protected speech that would continue through the RNC in July. And thereafter until this case is dismissed for one of the more myriad reasons we've already identified. This case is crap. Now, fundamentally, Your Honor, Judge Cannon, the motion from Jack is based on the fact that President Trump criticized a Mar-a-Lago raid based on evidence from publicly filed motions in this case. So he's not breaking classified or other secretive sealed information, Your Honor. We're just reading the warrants. And he's allowed to talk about this as part of his constitutionally protected campaign speech. Part of running for president is to fix the broken institutions in this country. One of the most broken, in our opinion, if not the biggest one, is the justice system. The Justice Department. There is no country if you have no law, and there is no law if you have no justice. So in a manner that someone in the government disagreed with and does not like. So he's allowed to criticize the DOJ. Now, the office chose this cynical litigation strategy just one day after concluding a series of untimely disclosures where they told the defense, oh, by the way, here's our policies. Here's this other stuff. They revealed in this new discovery, extremely problematic features of the raid. Spoliation of evidence. It was spoiled. The exculpatory material, evidence that would tend to show Trump is innocent, has been ruined. Spoiled by the FBI themselves. What is that? That's the shifting of the documents all over the place. There's also discovery violations by the same FBI team in connection with the same unlawful search. So they've tainted everything. Now, Jack's office, to you, Judge Cannon, where he's begging you for a gag order over Trump, is egregiously lacking in any legal and evidentiary support. Now, pursuant to your sealing orders, Judge, no FBI agent who participated in the raid has been publicly identified in a court filing or any commentary by Trump. So this case, you entered a protective order. We've been abiding by it. Now, that is almost certainly why nearly 3 weeks after the most recent Truth Social post cited by Jack, they have not submitted to this court any evidence of any threats or harassment resulting from Trump's protected speech. There have been no problems. Not a single FBI agent who participated in the raid submitted an affidavit. It was broad generalities written by really pathetic whiners in Jay Bratt's office. We read through the motion. It sounded like a whiny Facebook post. All right, our agents work hard and we don't like to be criticized. We didn't try to kill you. Okay, well, relax. It's his opinion. He's allowed to say it. You're FBI. You're the government. Act like it. Act like you're a law enforcement official, for crying out loud. You have a badge and a gun and everything. Or even an argument claiming that President Trump's remarks put them at risk. Yeah, they're all going to die. It was one of the most pathetic filings. I can't believe it came from a prosecutor. If I was an FBI agent and a prosecutor wrote that on my behalf, I'd be like, dude, what? You say I'm like scared under my pillows at night? This is ridiculous. But Jay Bratt is, he doesn't care. So the gag order modification is also vague and lacking in sufficient enforcement criteria. So it's just going to gag all of Trump's speech, his broad protected speech. They're trying to chill it. Now, as a result, the requested release condition would place Smith, Jack, and his colleagues in a position to seek Trump's arrest and temporary detention anytime he said something they disagreed with, just like Alvin Bragg wanted to do. And they brought Trump in there during that trial and held him in contempt 10 times, including but not limited to statements on the debate stage. So what happens if Trump says the FBI tried to raid my residence and rig me? They tried to take me out, which they did. It's in the policy. The campaign trail on social media, potentially even including communications by Trump's campaign staff. Trump has to be gagged. So straining credulity, Judge Cannon, Jack's office, they even suggest that statements by people like Steve Bannon, okay, could lead to Trump's pretrial detention at the height of him running for president. So not only is Trump gagged, but if Trump there's a message relayed by a third party like Steve Bannon, who they're also throwing in prison, that's enough to throw Trump in prison too. What kind of country is this? For all these reasons, the motion is a naked effort to impose totalitarian censorship of core political speech under a threat of incarceration in a clear attempt to silence Trump's arguments to the American people about the outrageous nature of this investigation and the prosecution in the first place. Neither the Bail Reform Act nor the First Amendment would ever permit such a result. And so therefore, Judge Cannon, you should deny Jack's insane motion. Here's the background, Your Honor. As you know, on August 8th, 2022, we go back 2 years, the FBI carried out an unprecedented raid targeting Trump's residence at his family's home and his office in Mar-a-Lago. Never happened before. They broke American history and the precedent against doing this against political opponents. They did it, not Trump. Whereas the DOJ attorneys considered even the suggestion of seizing classified information from President Clinton to be extraordinary. Okay, so under Clinton, it was extraordinary. Wait a minute. You're going to say we're going to go seize classified documents from Clinton? Are you out of your freaking mind? That would be extraordinary. Okay, that would be unfounded, they said in 2012. But now in 2019, 2000 and whatever this was, 22, the DOJ leadership, frankly, did not give a damn about the optics, their words, not ours, of Mar-a-Lago a decade later. So Clinton, you wouldn't even think about it. He's their hero. He's their savior. But Trump, oh, yeah, I don't even give a damn about the optics. Frankly, I don't care because these people are monsters. Indeed, the Attorney General proudly notified the public that he, quote, personally approved the raid. Merrick Garland's very excited. I had to save democracy. Now, during the raid, Judge Cannon, FBI agents that were deployed to ransack rooms for which there was no plausible argument that any evidence might be found. They went into the bedroom suites of First Lady Melania and one of President Trump's sons, as well as a gym and a kitchen, which makes your skin crawl. Did they have any evidence? They had Secret Service footage. They had CCTV footage, rather. They had witnesses. Did anybody say it went into Melania's bedroom? Was she putting classified documents in her closet? No, didn't find anything. There were no conceivable safety risks associated with the raid in light of the existing security at Mar-a-Lago, which is already undertaken by Secret Service and other security. Nevertheless, in connection with this unprecedented violation of a former commander-in-chief's home, a duly elected president of this country, the operations order relating to the raid indicates that the FBI elected to apply its use of deadly force policy right there. Now, I keep hearing from many people that, well, it's just standard, okay? It's in every it's in every raid. I don't care. This is not every raid. This is the president. This is a person with Secret Service protection. This was somebody that was that was elected by half the country, won the Electoral College. It's not a regular drug raid, so you don't use the same things. And if it's in there, if there is a use of deadly force policy, even if it says you can't use it unless, that unless is your license. Oh, unless this happens, then I have a license to use it. Got it. So there is a use of deadly force policy in there. And they were just prognosticating that Trump was not going to be there. They had their eyes on him, traveling around like a drug dealer. But he could have been there, or the Secret Service could have said, you're not coming in here. This is our jurisdiction. Or Trump's private security could have said that. He could have said, maybe made an argument, no. I have presidential immunity. It has not been determined by the Supreme Court yet. These are my documents still, or this is my property now. You're not coming back in here to raid it after you raided it the first time. In other words, I have some sovereignty over my property as a prior presidency. And whether those arguments are true or not, I don't know. The Supreme Court hasn't decided, but it's an argument someone can make. And maybe the next time they will, and maybe the next time they should, so that the FBI has to question this when they're raiding other presidents. Now, as a result, DOJ authorized FBI agents that had standard issue weapons and ammo why did they have those things if they were not going to use them? They penetrated Mar-a-Lago in a manner that was inconceivable to DOJ attorneys responsible for investigating and litigating with the Clintons. Only recently did Jack Smith's office disclose that the agents destroyed exculpatory evidence that was favorable to Trump's defense during the process, after repeatedly insisting that President Trump and this court, that the materials taken in the boxes during the raid were in the exact same condition that they were when they were seized. Not true. You want to go in, okay, when your driver picks up your DoorDash order, it's sealed, it's not manipulated. When you transport it back to your home to eat it, it's sealed and not manipulated. If you open it up and stir everything around, now you've got questions about the taint of that delivery. Same thing happened here. They picked up the boxes. By the time they got back to the FBI, they're not the same boxes. So if Trump had any material in there that might exonerate him, like the sequencing of the documents when stuff went in there, so we could draw a timeline to say, no, Trump had no knowledge of anything that came in after this date, or these were all old documents. To go to the mens rea, the element of the offense, you can't do that. So he cannot defend himself because the FBI manipulated the documents. And then when Trump says, oh, you also came in plain clothes to raid our residence, searching locations, there were no documents at all, to gather paperwork. Now, Trump was arraigned just over a year ago on June 13th, and they released him on his own recognizance, as we know. Now, there was no suggestion at the arraignment that Trump was any flight risk or danger. Trump's personal recognizance bond is subject to the standard condition that he doesn't violate the law, and a special condition over Trump's release is that he refrained from communicating with fact witnesses on the list, except through counsel. And then the court sealed some stuff. Now, Jack's office has not been shy about making unsupported and incorrect claims about risks to witness safety. Everybody is at risk. Trump just crosses the street and half the jurors die. Now, nevertheless, the court has devoted substantial resources and paid meticulous attention to Jack's concerns. And Trump has not stood in the way of sealing this stuff, supported by non-speculative evidence of actual safety risks. And pursuant to the court's rulings, the names of the FBI witnesses who participated in the raids have been redacted from all public filings, and so no one's talking about them. Jack. Now, here's the law. It says the judge obviously can make changes to the release conditions. We'll fast forward through that. But we have very serious protections for political speech in this country. Prior restraints on someone's speech, muzzling somebody before they can even open their mouths, are the most serious and the least tolerable infringements on our First Amendment rights. It's a prior restraint. You're gagged before you can speak. Such restraints are one of the most extraordinary remedies known in our law. They are accorded the most exacting scrutiny. So if you have a prior restraint, we put that under a microscope, man. We look at it so hard, 100x magnification. 1000x, maximum magnification, Scotty. This is so because the loss of First Amendment freedoms, even for minimal periods of time, unquestionably constitutes irreparable injury. U.S. Supreme Court case from 2020, which is basically gone now, right? First Amendment, give me a break. Everybody's silenced all over the place, including the leading candidate for president. The First Amendment protects a significant amount of verbal criticism and challenge directed at police officers, even they said in 2020, SCOTUS. Speech is often provocative and challenging, but it is nevertheless protected against censorship or punishment unless shown to likely produce a clear and present danger of a serious substantive evil that rises far above public inconvenience, annoyance, and unrest. Another Supreme Court case, 1987. Now, no form of speech is entitled to greater constitutional protection than core political speech. One of those things that's political is petitioning your government for a redress of grievances. Saying the FBI are a bunch of corrupt maniacs who murder people. Saying the DOJ prosecutes the innocent. Say whatever you want. You're allowed to say those things. Or you should have. You should be. I don't know if that's really the case anymore. We'll see if the feds show up here in a few minutes. But speech on matters of public concern is at the heart of the First Amendment's protections. That's why we have it. That's because speech concerning public affairs is more than self-expression. It is the essence of self-government. We cannot have a government if we can't speak to be a part of it. That's why it's the First Amendment, not the Seventh. Thus, the Supreme Court has never allowed the government to prohibit candidates ever from communicating relevant information to voters during an election. Never happened. Has already happened many times, though. This year, Chutkan did it. Engoron did it. Bragg did it with Merchan. And now Jack Smith's trying to do it. Moreover, freedom of speech presupposes a willing speaker. But where a speaker exists, as is the case here, the protection afforded is to the communication, to its source, and to its recipients both. This is a point that I'd like to see the right make a lot more. It's violating our right to free speech to not hear from Trump on these issues. Justice system is a key issue for us here. I know for many of you. It's why you're here. That's why we do this work. And if Trump can't comment on that, so Trump can only talk about the border, the war, global warming, and all those other issues, maybe inflation, but he can't talk about the justice system. He can't talk about the corrupt FBI. Now, they give us some discussion. They say, listen, Your Honor, obviously this is ridiculous. Criticism of the government is at the very center of our constitutionally protected area of free speech. Jack's office offers no basis at all for the claim that Trump's protected campaign speech threatens the integrity of the proceedings. How, Jack? Even if substantiated, such a claim would not warrant a modification of these release conditions. Jack offers nothing to support the suggestion that either of those concerns is an issue based on the motion. And moreover, Judge Cannon, this court has already implemented extensive and much less restrictive measures to avoid harassment or other risks here. The name of every agent who participated in this disgusting raid has already been redacted. And in place of those names, there is now a dizzying list of pseudonyms to keep track of. All the feds. Now, accordingly, for the reasons set forth below, the court should deny the motion. First of all, there is no evidence or any justification for a gag order, period. Jack's office has failed to provide actual evidence. They submitted 5 exhibits, but guess what? Not one is from the FBI or other law enforcement that are apparently under attack. And none of them supports their claim regarding the, quote, risk of threats and violence and harassment. We're so scared. Notably, President Trump and the defense are similarly unaware of any hostility, any harassment, any risk of harm directed at any agent involved in this case at all. Let's go through the exhibits, they say. First of all, Judge, they gave you a post of Trump's True Social post. Here's what he said. He said it describes the defense litigation's positions regarding the raid. Trump posted on Truth. He talked about the use of the deadly force policy. He said Joe Biden's DOJ, in their illegal and unconstitutional raid of Mar-a-Lago, authorized the FBI to use deadly lethal force. It's true. So they say, okay, yeah, he posted that, Your Honor. That's hardly deceptive and inflammatory, you crazy. The post accurately summarizes aspects of Trump's legal defense, and it contains truthful and accurate characterization of the deadly force policy that did apply during the raid. It was in your documents. He's just quoting you. Specifically, the policy stated this: law enforcement officers of the Department of Justice may use deadly force only when necessary. So they say, no, that's a limitation on the use of force. They cannot use of force. And you just read it. You just say, what? It says it says may when necessary. It's right there. Exhibit 2 is May 23rd campaign communications, an email. The email stated it's been revealed through the unsealing of Trump's suppression motion. They say the Biden DOJ was authorized, he wrote this in an email, to use deadly force for their despicable raid in Mar-a-Lago. While President Trump's use of despicable appears to have ruffled someone's feathers. Oh, so that's funny. So he knows who that was. So that's probably a dig at Jay Brad or one of the prosecutors. He's like, oh, they don't like that word. So he's like, oh, somebody got irritated somebody. That is not a basis for the government to violate the First Amendment. In public debate, we say we must tolerate insulting, even outrageous speech, clearly, in order to support adequate breathing space for freedoms protected by the First Amendment. You're allowed to be outrageous. You're allowed to exaggerate. You're allowed to call things despicable and say they were trying to kill me. They were trying to assassinate me. And they say, no, we're not. That's the whole point of having free speech. You have an arena of ideas. You get to battle that out. Now, the May 23rd email communication, also marked as Exhibit 2, also stated, Joe Biden was locked and loaded and ready to take me out and put my family in danger, which is just a great sentence. I mean, that's whoever wrote that. Well done at the campaign. Joe Biden was locked and loaded, ready to take me out. Now, the special counsel's office claims this is an example of, quote, deceptive and inflammatory language. Regarding the false charge that the speech is deceptive, they say, well, the Supreme Court has rejected the notion that the government may prohibit speech through a provision that just targets falsity and nothing more. So the Supreme Court has even said this in Alvarez, U.S. 567 U.S. 709, U.S. versus Alvarez, 2012 case, plurality opinion from the court. They said characterizing speech as inflammatory obviously did not deprive the demonstration of its protected character under the Constitution. Now, it's a bedrock principle, fundamental, at the rock bottom, that the government may not prohibit the expression of an idea simply because society finds the idea offensive or disagreeable. U.S. Supreme Court, 1989. Prohibiting that speech because it is the government itself that finds the speech offensive is even more problematic. It's why we have this in the first place. Yes. Oh, the government's offended by something we said? Good. That's the point. What did we say that hurt so bad? I'm going to say it harder now, next time. Exhibit 3, True Social post from President Trump that is substantially similar to Exhibit 1. Like, he said it twice. The principal difference is that in the May 23rd post, President Trump argued that the Secret Service, which is responsible for protecting Trump, his family in Mar-a-Lago, thought that they might be, quote, in the line of fire. Now they say, well, yeah, it's a nice statement. Now, in light of the statements in the operations order that the government drafted, not Trump, that was a plausible concern for President Trump and the Secret Service. So in addition to the deadly force authorization that they authorized, and the FBI's instruction that the participating agents, quote, bring standard issue weapons and ammos to gather paperwork from tables and boxes. You should bring a bottle of water and some comfy shoes because you're hauling boxes around. Sheesh, not guns and ammo. Who are they going to shoot with their guns and ammo? The president? Yes. The Secret Service? Yes, that's what is there. There's no one else there. Is there a secret cartel there? Is the Taliban hiding in some closet somewhere? It's for Trump and the family, clearly. The operations order included contingency planning steps for the FBI. The FBI would take. Should the Secret Service provide resistance, this is quoting from their order, or interference with the FBI timeline or access, there would be contingency plans from Trump. He's pointing this out, that the FBI would have contingency plans if there was a pushback. Now, the fact that armed FBI agents raided Mar-a-Lago while planning for potential resistance and while also saying, there we go. I was going to say it, but he just wrote it. From well-intentioned and also armed Secret Service personnel created exactly the type of dangerous, volatile, and entirely unnecessary situation that Trump has criticized in his public statements. And moreover, the DOJ frankly did not even give a damn about the optics, but now they seek to threaten Trump with detention for commenting on them. Okay, it's their documents. He's commenting on their paperwork that they filed. It's their raid. Trump can't talk about it. So Exhibit 4 is another post, ex-post by Steve Bannon, who they're also trying to jail and probably will. We'll see. He's got appeals pending. We covered that here on this channel as well. Sending support out to Steve and the team. But they have also orchestrated his jailing to coincide with the election as well. They're trying to shut him up for the next 4 months. So he gets out right before the election. How convenient. They also want Trump gagged. He called the Mar-a-Lago document search an attempted assassination by Joe. In support of the troubling suggestion that a third party's protected speech, right? So they attached that post by Bannon, an X post attributing to Steve Bannon. They said, see, that should also limit Trump because he's calling it an assassination attempt through third parties. They say in support of this very troubling suggestion that a third party's protected speech could also be the basis for incarcerating Trump via an unconstitutional prior restraint. They just said that Bannon predictably and as he certainly intended, others have amplified Trump's statement. So Trump posts it, they amplify it, so they should be penalized. Maybe Trump should be penalized for those amplifications. So relying on similarly flawed reasoning without any evidence at all, Jack's office also seeks to blame Trump for the tragic violence that happened on August 11th at the FBI building. Now, one would hope that the FBI investigated that incident extensively. Who knows? I don't know if there were any J6ers there, so who knows if they even cared. Surely, if there was actual evidence of the type of link to President Trump that Jack is suggesting here, as opposed to bias and conclusory speculation, they would have submitted some actual evidence beyond just 2 stupid newspaper articles and a dumb footnote, Jack. So you can see Jack is trying to blame the violence on Trump. Well, the FBI got attacked. And he's like, also, my ice cream fell out of my cone also the other day. And Trump was responsible for that too, also. And that guy took my parking spot. So Trump's responsible for that too. So anything bad that happens, Trump, only political animus, and they put it in their filing to gag him. Now, only political animus exacerbated by deep arrogance, like the prosecutors have, which is basically the DOJ. I mean, come on, let's be real, would cause a group of prosecutors to make such a false, flawed claim in a belief where their main argument is that Trump has made statements that they believe are deceptive, right? So they're saying, okay, you call us deceptive? You're saying that Trump was responsible for violence on August 11th at the FBI location because you raided him on the 8th? Is that what you're saying? And there's no evidence of this because presumably they investigated it and they would say, oh, the person who caused that violence was connected to Trump or motivated by Trump, but they've got no evidence of that at all. So this is just pure. They're trying to conflate one thing with another and blame Trump for it. Exhibit 5 is another Truth Social post, which is so damaging to them. It's amazing how these Truth Social posts cause such a ruckus on their end. They can't handle it. So they try to silence you. They're cheaters, bullies, censors, and liars. Trump only serves to illustrate how lacking in support their motion is. Largely duplicative of aspects of other exhibits, the post also says the truth. Trump posted this. Biden's DOJ authorized the use of deadly force against President Trump in the Mar-a-Lago raid. Jack's office wisely limited discussion of this post to a footnote where they expressed outrage. They said, even the day after this motion was publicly filed, Trump continued to post deceptive and inflammatory assertions. Trump's defense says, no. To be clear, as we said shortly after Jack filed the motion in this manner, they characterized appropriately, that the court appropriately characterized as wholly lacking in substance and professional courtesy. Remember, the gag order came on the Friday before Memorial Day weekend, and they didn't even discuss this with Trump. They're supposed to coordinate with the defense to get their sign off on the motion, and they didn't do that. Now, the office's filing of a frivolous censorship demand without any support for any of these claimed safety risks they say it has no impact on Trump running for presidency. They say, listen, to repeat, we will not acquiesce in unsupported histrionics from unbiased and reckless prosecutors who have shown no respect for the First Amendment, other constitutional protections, the local rules, and the court's orders. And now, based on these 5 exhibits and these 2 news articles, Judge Cannon, Jack's office has not demonstrated that this gag order is reasonably necessary to assure the safety of anything, And even if the evidentiary showing by Jack's office did pass muster, and it doesn't, the gag order modification would also serve as an unconstitutional and wholly unwarranted prior restraint. Jack's office and their exhibits reflect core political speech, every one of them. Each of them references Joe Biden. Exhibit 2 is a communication, literally it's an email from Trump's campaign. Freedom of speech has its fullest and most urgent application precisely to conduct campaigns. And so these 5 exhibits fall very short of the solidity of evidence that's required here. Nothing rises to a clear and present danger that meets the rules. And also, Exhibit 4, that's talking about Steve Bannon, is also troubling. The logic of Jack's office and the reliance on Bannon's reaction to Trump's publicly filed motion is based on an unlawful heckler's veto theory that Trump's speech may be restricted because his audience might react with some hostility. That is clearly not constitutional. Indeed, a speech burden based on an audience reaction is simply government hostility and intervention in a different guise. Oh, no. We're not going to limit what you can say. We just don't want your audience to get mad about what you're saying and something bad might happen to them. So then you're gagged. No, it's a censorship format that's just a slightly more clever. Now, the gag order is also unconstitutionally vague as applied. It ignores all the practical challenges, all the infirmities. They say, who would decide if you impose this, judge, whether a statement by Trump during the June 27th presidential debate or the Republican National Convention, who would be the judge to decide whether it is a danger to law enforcement? To our knowledge, the probation officer has no interest in taking that on. Hard to blame him. But Jack, however, could seek an arrest warrant or at least temporary detention if he believed Trump crossed his line. Now, the gag order modification is also ambiguous. It lacks in any enforcement criteria, and it's going to invite arbitrary enforcement by Jack, who happens to be a surrogate for Joe Biden and also illegally appointed. Piling modifiers like onto the word danger, they say significant and imminent and foreseeable. It doesn't give us any guidance. They just put in a bunch of words in there. And so now Trump has to have his speech chilled completely so that he doesn't possibly run afoul of the vague rules. This is clearly illustrated by the fact that Jack's office believes that their proposition would clearly be violated by the statements deceptively claiming that the agents were trying to eliminate him. Their formulation requires no threats, doesn't require true threats at all. There's nothing in their standard here that would approach an extremely high degree of imminence or anything like that. There would be a massive chilling effect, not only suffered by President Trump, but also us, the American people. The voters, that's us. We have a well-established right to receive information. It's our right to receive information and ideas. How can we be a democratic republic if the people can't even understand what's going on? Because they can't tell us. They won't tell us. Including ideas that Biden, Smith, or the prosecution in this team that we think are disgusting, deceptive, disagreeable. If we want to have those opinions that they're deranged thugs and they attempted to assassinate Trump, we're allowed to have that opinion. Now, therefore, the ambiguities, the lack of enforcement criteria, and the resulting chilling effect are a separate basis for denying the motion. And also, this other case, Your Honor, Judge Cannon, doesn't support the gag order either. Contrary to Jack's stupid opinion, the analysis in this other case doesn't add any merit. The D.C. Circuit's opinion is not binding, and to the extent that it authorized prior restraints on Trump's speech, it's unpersuasive. It's plainly distinguishable in any extent. U.S. versus Trump, D.C. Circuit. Says this motion is based on an alleged non-existent safety concern arising from Trump's speech. That was not even an issue in that other case. There, the DC focused on Trump's ability to speak about his criminal trial and the need to protect the criminal trial and its truth-finding function. The DC Circuit framed its merits analysis on balancing two things, the right to free speech and the functional of a criminal trial process and its function. Now, and that was obviously Judge Chutkan. So, which on the J6 case. Now, as to the First Amendment, the court described political speech as, quote, the lifeblood of American democracy, which is why they're trying to strangle it so badly. The First Amendment is a danger to them because they can't consolidate their power if we can question it and expose them. So they try to strangle the free speech. which in turn strangles our republic. Also allows voters to make informed decisions about those who seek to represent them. Moreover, in the DC Circuit's view, speech about judicial proceedings promotes transparency. And so the only compelling government interest that they had for curbing the rights, Trump's rights back then, was the fair administration of justice. And so the Trump panel also rejected an effort to clarify the unconstitutional gag order, talking about targeting and other significant risks. And finally, the DC Circuit also imposed a mens rea requirement that is absent from this gag order. This gag order only prohibits Trump from speaking about stuff that interfere or the knowledge that some inference is going to result. And so the proposal strikes at the First Amendment's heart. It's overly broad. It's chilling a bunch of speech that should not be chilled, and it violates the First Amendment even under the DC Circuit's flawed reasoning. And so Trump's defense team, in giving Jack Smith the old legal backhand, they say, this court should reject the efforts by Jack's office to use the law to modify the gag order to limit the leading candidate in 2024 from speaking. And so this modification should be swiftly rejected. Signed here by Todd Blanche, Christopher Keese. They're representing Trump in the classified documents case in Florida. And we're going to see what Judge Cannon does with this. Of course, this will land on her desk, and Trump's defense will be awaiting Jack Smith's reply. And it will be curious to see what he says and how Judge Cannon will rule. Now, Trump has a lot of additional support on this. So in our next segment, if you enjoyed this one, then we're going to talk about 24 states who are now also jumping in to help the president. They're saying this is ridiculous. He cannot be gagged because we have an election coming up and our citizens in our states need to hear from the president, because he's running for president. We want to vote. And so coming up in our next segment, if you like this video, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for actually liking this video, and we'll see you there on our next segment, which, since we're live, baby, we're coming into right now. And we're going to start by seeing what these 24 states have to add to the conversation. 24 states, and probably counting, are now joining Trump to fight Jack Smith's attempt to gag him. Jack doesn't want him to talk about the deadly force raid that they authorized at Mar-a-Lago, where they took pictures of Melania's bedroom and Barron's too. And now that Trump is talking about it, they're trying to cover it up. They're trying to silence him, because the more Trump talks about it, the more the American people realize how disgusting our justice system has become, and Trump's poll numbers go up. So they've got to shut him down. Now, this is from 24 states. Is your state on this list? We got a big list coming up. We got Iowa's here, Florida, West Virginia. What's up to Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, Idaho, Indiana in the house, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska. We got North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, and Wyoming, all joining forces to oppose Jack Smith's unlawful gag of Trump. Now, this is a brief. We're still waiting for Judge Cannon to grant permission for this to be accepted, but this is knocking at her door. So, Judge Cannon, here, this is what we're about to file with you. And so let's see what these 24 states say in support of Trump. Unfortunately, Arizona's not on that list because we're going through weird times right now. Trying to figure out who we are. We're working on it. But here is what the states say. All right, listen, Judge Cannon, we got an important thing we got to talk about here. Free and fair elections in the United States depend on a candidate's ability to, actually speak. Attempts to stop them from speaking are harming more than just the candidate. Us. They hurt the voters. We're denied access to crucial information. And when agents of one candidate, like Joe Biden, when they seek a court order to muzzle on other candidates, that raises fundamental questions under the First Amendment. All these states are here, and we stand together, and we stand foursquare behind the protections of the First Amendment and the Constitutions. Each branch of the government, even the judiciary, should be cautious about abridging core political speech, especially core political speech in an election. Now, unfortunately, Jack Smith is not doing that. They say free speech is at its strongest when it protects fundamental and political speech. But Jack Smith here, who's working on behalf of the United States, yeah, right. He's not even lawfully appointed. Judge Cannon's also dealing with that one. Working on behalf of Joe Biden. Asked this court to curtail that right by ordering Trump gagged. Now, such an order is presumptively unconstitutional. And Your Honor, if you granted this request would prevent Trump, the presumptive Republican nominee, from speaking out at all about this prosecution and the criminal process that's trying to take away his liberty right now. That prosecution, of course, is led by Joe Biden. Now, as administrators of free and fair elections, we, the states, have an interest in ensuring that no illegal prior restraint is entered against any major political candidate. Why? Our citizens have an interest in hearing from President Trump. And accordingly, we file this on support of President Trump and against Jack Smith. They write, President Donald Trump is the presumptive Republican nominee here. Now, he's being prosecuted by Joe Biden. But attempting to take away his liberty is seemingly not enough. Yes, they're trying to imprison him, but it's much more. They now seek to silence him from even criticizing the prosecution. This is unprecedented. It's an assault on Trump's First Amendment rights, and it's on the American people's essential reciprocal right to hear what Trump has to say on the most heated political issues of the day. Now, although Trump is currently a defendant in this case, that doesn't mean that he's justified in having prior restraints. Courts no doubt must ensure that they take steps, sure, to protect their processes, but criticisms of the investigation or criticisms of the prosecution is not enough to trigger those steps. Now, for several reasons, Jack is wrong. One, the federal government's request for a prior restraint is vague. It's overbroad. These statements, they say, pose a significant and imminent and foreseeable danger, but it doesn't explain how. Judging from what they deem to be threats in their motion, it's fair to infer that the covered statements could include any criticism of their team, which would include core political speech as well. And second, the federal government cannot meet the heavy burden that's required for a prior restraint. If you're going to restrict speech about a judicial proceeding, you got to have a clear and present danger, okay? Clear. Jack cannot make that showing. There haven't been any. There have been no comments that have threatened law enforcement or resulted in any threats to law enforcement. And third, the presidential campaign is in full swing right now. As Americans turn their attention to the upcoming election, courts should take special care to ensure that voters can actually judge the candidates on their own merits. And so a prior restraint might limit a candidate's ability to campaign and to meet those standards. And so the proposed order here would not meet those standards. And so, Judge Cannon, you should deny it. The states continue. 24 states, they say, look, Your Honor, this prior restraint is vague and overbroad. Similar to what we saw in Trump's filing, the federal government also asks Trump to be gagged from making statements. But what are those statements? They don't explain. That's enough. You don't even need to go further, Your Honor. Any orders that could give rise to punitive sanctions, if you're going to punish the person, they need to know what the rule is. They have to have notice. It's a due process problem. But the special prosecutor proposed order fails that test. They don't even explain what they would be mad about. Trump would be left to guess how third parties might respond to even the most innocuous statement. So Trump says something, then Steve Bannon makes a post, and now Trump is responsible for that? He would likely be compelled to steer far clear of anything. So he would just say nothing. Otherwise, they'll prosecute him and throw him in jail. Now, reading between the lines, the federal government's request is way too broad. Jack Smith identifies no comments by Trump that actually pose a real danger, and it is not even alleged that he called for violence. They didn't even say that. Rather, Jack Smith points to general criticisms that Trump has made about the raid. Jack says that any comment that Trump may make might pose a significant, imminent, and foreseeable danger. Now, the reasoning from Jack just simply does not pass constitutional muster. Criminal defendants have a greater constitutional claim than other trial participants to speak out against their prosecution. That's their mechanism of defense. And Trump's comments about the seizure of evidence from his private residence that led to his indictment is exactly that. Indeed, one of the most important public debates during this process has been the role of the justice system and the weaponization of it to target Trump's political opponents. Look at all these articles. Now, to the extent that the government is actually concerned with real threats, this would go way far beyond that, beyond the narrow circumstances that speech will give rise to genuine danger. So, Your Honor, if you grant the request, you would place the thumb on the political scale and turn standard protections for criminal defendants on their heads. Other candidates and their supporters will be free to characterize and attack Trump. That's right. If Biden says that if Trump is wrong, Biden can come out and say that. The DOJ can come out and say that. Just come make a statement. Put out they do all the time. They leak crap to the Washington Post, to CNN, whatever. Just tell your little acolytes on CNN and everywhere else to do your talking points, go in your group chat. Yes, I know. Send it out to everybody. They all just repeat each other like copy and paste morons anyways. So it's fine. They're free, but they know they're not effective. And they're like, yeah, we kind of did want him dead. So we don't really have a good defense to this. So how about we just gag him? Trump, however, would not be able to directly respond without fear of incurring some sort of a sanction for violating this gag order. Silencing one side on behalf of a political debate would turn the First Amendment on its head. And Jack Smith also doesn't even meet the burden that's required. Given the serious disfavor towards restrictive orders, the party seeking one pending a criminal trial bears the burden. And when the record lacks any evidence, there shouldn't be one granted. In holding the already narrow restraint in a prior case, the Supreme Court gave us three factors. What matters? What determines whether a prior restraint is justified? Whether, and watch this, this is fun, Nebraska Press. Here is whether a prior restraint is justified. Whether the publicity would impair the defendant's right to a trial. So read that as Trump's right. Whether measures short of an order of restraint might have impaired a fair trial, and whether the restraint would be effective in ensuring a fair trial. So it's the defense rights, not the government's rights. The court could not determine there that the restraining order actually entered would even serve its purpose. And so the court concluded that the guarantees of freedom of expression are not an absolute prohibition, but they still have a heavy burden. Same thing, Sixth Circuit came out. They employed the clear and present danger test. Was there going to be a clear and present danger? The Sixth Circuit recognized that separation of powers, a unique feature of our constitutional system, would be undermined if the judicial branch tried to control political communication between a congressman and his constituents. Exactly right. A politician's role includes communicating with the electorate. That's us. And that's the point. They don't want Trump talking to us because if he does, we know the truth and then they lose. So here, Jack Smith argues that Trump's mischaracterization of facts surrounding the seizure of evidence has endangered law enforcement officers. Who? And threatened the integrity of the proceedings. How? But that reasoning does not justify curtailing his speech. First, Jack Smith has not shown that the comments are a mischaracterization of anything. Indeed, there were months of disputes between DOJ prosecutors and FBI agents over how to get the documents back. Trump is justified in questioning the decision to engage in this raid. These were the same questions senior FBI officials were raising as well. And Trump is justified in highlighting that the raid invoked the FBI's use of force policy rather than taking an approach that would not have needed that authorization. Remember, the FBI had already been there. They had already come in and sat at a conference table. Donald Trump popped in. You guys want some lemonade? It's a great day. Whatever. In arguing otherwise, Jack's prosecutors, they resort to unsupported insinuations. Trump has never said, for instance, that federal law enforcement agents were complicit in a plot to assassinate him. No, didn't say that. Likewise, the special prosecutor says that an armed attack was carried out by one of Trump's supporters after the post, implying without any evidence at all that President Trump is to blame for the actions of a man who is already known to the FBI. So the guy who attacked the FBI building, account-bearing Ohio FBI standoffs, they blame Trump for that. The FBI already knew who this guy was. They probably activated him. Like, oh man, we need a crazy Trump. Can we put a hat on somebody? Get a MAGA hat on that crazy guy. He alleges that President Trump's perspective on the raid has already endangered law enforcement officers. So if they're already in danger, what happened? Can you give us a single example of one? No, you can't. In any event, precluding President Trump from discussing the terms of the authorized raid, if he can't do it, that's improper. Trump and his ability to question the federal government behind and their motive is why they're trying to take away his liberty. Nothing in the record shows that Trump made any intentionally false or inflammatory statements, and it's essential that he be allowed to voice his opinion. And second, President Trump's speech did not endanger law enforcement officials at all. Jack's office argues that Trump's criticisms of the search of his private residence, he says, they invite threats of harassment against law enforcement. But he's got no evidence of any actual threats that have ever emerged from any of the commentary at all. It's not even clear how such threats could arise, given that the identities of the people involved in the raid are largely not even public. Hypothetical and conjectural threats, that is, worries, are not enough to show an obstruction of the justice process worthy of encroaching on Trump's core political speech. And third, nothing Trump has said can be construed as a direct threat at all. Although Trump will sometimes use colorful rhetoric, that's true, to communicate his intent to fight hard for Americans, he's never threatened law enforcement officials in this case, nor has invited others to do so at all. Without evidence of definite obstructions of justice, any prior restraint like the one proposed by Jack would encroach on the public's interest in learning what's happening in these cases. And fourth, Your Honor, 24 states, including the state of Texas, sent out to Judge Cannon. They say, fourth, though the government repeatedly invokes the integrity of the proceedings, it never explains with any specificity how Trump might endanger it at all. For example, Jack Smith never offers proof that the court will be unable to, sit a fair jury for that. Though he speaks in generalities about messages to potential jurors, we already have tools for that. We got voir dire and other tools that can ferret out jury problems. Nor does Jack Smith allege, or let alone prove, that any comments will sway witnesses or otherwise color the evidence at all. Merely invoking this platitude cannot be enough to justify a severe restraint on Trump's First Amendment rights. No evidence at all shows that the restraining order would actually complete and serve a purpose. And also, Your Honor, this is election interference. Interference with an ongoing presidential election weighs against a prior restraint. You can't gag him. If granted, Jack's request will stop Trump from discussing a major campaign issue during this election year. And like any other criminal defendant, Mr. Trump has a constitutional right to speak. And his millions of supporters, as well as millions of detractors, also have a right to hear what he has to say. Indeed, the citizens of our 24 states have a right to hear from presidential candidates on these important issues, including when one of those issues is an ongoing prosecution against that candidate. Now, issuing a prior restraint against President Trump here would set an unsettling precedent for future political candidates. Political opponents and opportunistic litigators may seek to stymie debate by relying on whatever order is issued here. Such an outcome would be an unwelcome burden on our process. Everyone's going to be gagging everyone, even more so when it comes to the highest stakes election of our time. Now, elections are a prime opportunity, Your Honor, for elected officials to hear from their constituents. Depriving us of that is a problem, and gagging a candidate means that we cannot learn how he thinks about these issues. And the Constitution is designed against that. To be sure, there are times when a gag order, even of a political candidate, may be justified, but this court need not find the distant boundary of when that might occur because it's not happening here. All Americans are entitled to have their free speech rights respected. The presidential election is a key component of our democratic republic, one implicating a uniquely important national interest. A prior restraint on one of the major party candidates for president will impede Americans' ability to communicate and to receive communications from an entire campaign and a person who might lead the entire branch of the federal government. Trump is being gagged from discussing matters of importance to his constituents. That's us. And they are being prohibited from learning from these conversations about how Trump proposes to lead. But in the end, a government may not censor what the people hear as they undertake to decide for themselves which candidate is most likely to be an exemplary officer. Deciding the relevance of a candidate's speech is the right of the voter, not of the government. And so, Your Honor, on behalf of the 24 states, this court should deny Jack's request to modify Trump and his conditions and gag him. Signed by 24 states, all listed here: Iowa, Florida, and many of the others, additional counsel, attorney generals from all the states. Arizona's not on here. I know. All right, so 24 states all joining in. Hopefully Judge Cannon grants this, accepts this filing from our 24 friends here, and acknowledges that this gag order is unconstitutional. It doesn't serve the interest of the American people. It's antithetical to our justice system. The whole point of the First Amendment is to petition your government for a redress of grievances. One of those redresses, or one of those grievances, is about the justice system. It's about the weaponization, the politicization of the FBI, the DOJ against one candidate in this country. And so hopefully Cannon make sure that this line of communication between Trump and us stays open. We're going to cover all of the rest of this Florida litigation, and we'd love it if you joined us as we did. Thank you so much for subscribing to our channel. If you like this video, we've got a great segment coming up next on Joe Biden's dementia. Karine says it's all just deep fakes. So we'll go over there, and we'll see you there and back here on the next one. All right, my friends. Now, let's check it out. We got one final segment on the day, and then we're going to hear from you and see what you say about all this and more in just a short minute. But we've got this segment. Biden is being ridiculed for blaming deepfakes on his deep dementia. Karine Jean-Pierre came out and was trying to paper over a couple of these weird videos that have now leaked out. We're going to go through these videos in a bit more detail, but here's what's coming up. We've got Obama right here. You'll see him grabbing Joe's wrist. Come on, Joe, it's bedtime. Gonna go brush your teeth now. He's okay. So then we also got Giorgia Meloni from Italy, who gave him the old tap on the shoulder. And we also got him over there in England, and we're going to watch that full clip, but it looks like he's a little unsteady on his feet, holding the King of England for support. Now, Karine has to explain all this. She's got a hard time here. And she's talking about deepfakes, which is strange because I've never seen one of those before at all. I don't know what she's talking about. But it is interesting because these are clearly not deepfakes. These are clearly the president, not fake AI anything. So what they've done is they probably hired some very weird consultant who says, well, they're not really deep fakes, but deep rhymes with sleep and peep and cheap. So call them cheap fakes because they're actually real, but they're kind of taken out of context. And so Karine came out. She tried to explain this to everybody today, and the media was just not having it. They're like, but it's not fake at all. Like, that's the actual president who's having a difficult time walking. So, all right, here's Karine, couple clips.
Secondly, there seems to be a sort of rash of videos that have been edited to make the president appear especially frail or mentally confused. I'm wondering if the White House is especially worried about the fact that this appears to be a pattern that we're seeing more often.
Yeah. So you might say, just to play devil's advocate here and give them the benefit of the doubt, you might say that some videos are maybe clipped out of context, okay, like edited out of context. So the one that comes to mind where Joe Biden got a little bit of I think a raw deal on it, was where he was kind of sitting down in that chair. Well, it turns out there actually was a chair there. In the longer clip, he does sit down, but it was still a weird clip because he was trying to sit himself down before everybody else was. And Jill was standing there like Joe, don't sit down yet. Like, just don't sit down. No, not yet. Right. And so it was still kind of weird because he was out of sync. There ultimately was a chair there, but he was like, and the Macron and his whatever next to him, they were, so it was a weird clip. But if you did play it for another 5 seconds, okay, finally there was a chair there. And so it depends on how you're interpreting it. It depends how you're sharing the video. If you're saying Joe's sitting in an invisible chair, well, that's not really right. There was a chair there. But if you're saying Joe is just, he looks a little off. Like, he looks like one of the things that doesn't belong there. Everybody else is in sync. Everybody else is following the instructions, and Joe's not. So if you're sharing it with that regard, it's not really edited out of context at all. So it's interpretation. That's what we do. So this guy is asking a question about edited videos. This question feels completely rigged because Karine just hits a home run on this. She's got a whole litany prepared. And she's like, I know the answer to this one. It's a terrible answer, as we'll hear, but here's the rest of this clip.
The White House is especially worried about the fact that this appears to be a pattern that we're seeing more often.
Yeah, and I think you all have called this the cheap fakes video, and that's exactly what they are. They are cheap fakes video. They are done in bad faith, and some of your news organization have been very clear, have stressed that these the right wing critics of the president have a credibility problem because of the fact checkers have repeatedly caught them pushing misinformation, disinformation, and so we see this, and this is something coming from your part of the world.
Yeah, nobody even believes those words anymore. They told us the Hunter Biden laptop was disinformation and misinformation from the Russians. It was all real. So we don't believe them at all.
Calling them cheap fakes and misinformation. And I'll quote the Washington Post, where they wrote about this, and they said how Republicans use misleading videos to attack Biden in a 24-hour period. And to their credit, we have a conservative Washington Examiner did call them out as well, calling out the New York Post. Ironically, several recent cheap fakes actually attacked the president for thanking troops. That is what they're attacking the president for. Both in Normandy, this happened, and again in Italy. And I think that it tells you everything that we need to know about how desperate Republicans are here. Instead of talking about the president's performance in office, and what I mean by that is his legislative wins, what he's been able to do for the American people across the country, we're seeing these deep fakes. What has he been able to do? These manipulated videos.
So she said these deep fakes, right?
Across the country, we're seeing these deep fakes.
Yeah, deep fakes.
These manipulated videos.
What?
And it is, again, done in bad faith.
Okay, so she starts with a cheap fake, just to be clear. She's a communications expert. Like the best in the whole country. Not joking. Excellent communicator. Really, really, really good. That's why she's the press secretary. I mean, they put the best people in the whole country there, so clearly she must be the best. So she starts with a cheap fake and then now communicates it as a deep fake and then calls it a manipulated video. Is it manipulated? What? How is it manipulated? It's just out of context? Is that the point? Because there's some truth to that. So, all right, let's take a look at some videos and let's just see. I mean, we'll see if we can put them in context. I don't know. We don't want to be manipulative here. So we'll go over to our friend, Aviva Fry, who is a good friend right next door on Rumble and YouTube, who got the actual real video here. He says, for the record, okay, we saw the video. You people are liars. So a lot of other people came out and said, for the record, this did not happen. This is a total lie. Biden appears to freeze up, has to be led off stage by Obama. We saw the hand grab. So New York Post writes about it. David Hogg and the rest of them say it's a total lie. They all go hog wild. They all got the memo. They're in a big group chat, I'm sure of it. And they all push back on this one. So they all push back. So David Hogg comes out. Well, Viva doesn't play around. He says, hey, moron. I said that, not Viva. He's nicer than I am. For the record, we saw the video. It happened. You are the liar, David. All right, so let's see. Is this a deep fake? Is this a cheap fake? Is this manipulated by AI? Or what happened here? There's Obama. There's Biden, totally blank Mitch McConnelling right now. Grabs him by the wrist, shakes him, and pulls him out. Wow, is that AI? Is that ChatGPT rendering that here for us? Because it certainly looks like Obama is walking Joe off the stage. Like with a hand right there. Holding him out. Okay. And here it is again. He's not tapping him. It's not, hey, I'm leaving. It's a grab. That's a grab right there. That's a full-on grab. And I'm walking you out. Right? You pull someone off. Like that's how you pull someone when they're about to do something you don't want them to do. You got to pull them. Ship them out. Okay. So I don't know if that was a deep fake. Hopefully it wasn't. I don't want to spread disinformation or misinformation, Karine, but it looks pretty dang real to us here. So we got that one clip. and there's others. So here was another one. This is the Georgia Meloni clip. I'm sure you've seen this, but our friend Viva also pulled the full clip here on this one. It says, I found the full video. The longer clip is even more horrifying. All right, so here's this guy. Now he lands, which is supposed to be the big show. Okay, even Dictator Trudeau is paying attention on this one. That's the star of the show. Joe Biden, yet again, goes over to the other guy who is packing up his parachute, and Georgia Meloni comes back over. Hey, Joe, come on over here, man. This is not where you're supposed to be looking at. Come on over here. Come on. All right. So pulls him back. Okay, that's two now. We got two other leaders who are pulling him in for the photo op and to look. Joe Biden puts his glasses on. Thanks, Georgia Meloni. We appreciate you. Thanks for corralling our president and getting him there. Now he's just going to stand there. I don't even know what he's not even moving. All right. So that's the president. So thankfully, the Italians got him in line. And this was another interesting clip over with the King of England. Having a hard time there as well. And here's this scene. A little unsteady, grabs him by the hand. Now watch when they turn. The king's going to put his arm out a little bit, and Joe's going to grab it. Just like you do with your grandpa. Right there. See that? There you go. He's got his hand out. See that? Look, he's got his hand out. 100%. He's got he's the king, right? He puts his hand over here, and I can't tell if this is really the UK because I thought everybody had the wigs on all the time over there, but apparently those guys aren't wearing the little hats. So he's definitely putting his hand out there, right? Right here. Watch when they turn. Just like you do with your grandma. Oh, yeah, right here, Granny. Come on. Yeah, right this way. Come on. Right there. Put the arm out. Here it goes. There it is. Right there. Yeah, grab it. Grab it. Grab it. Grab it. All right. So I guess that must have been another deep fake there. Is that another deep fake there? I'm totally faked out right now. I can't tell. There's so much AI happening right now on our channel. I can't take it. So, all right, Karine now, they said, wait a minute. You said deep fake. You said like something was weird here, but it's like happening a lot. We've got a bunch of videos, Karine. What are you talking about?
Sure.
Yeah. There were two instances in recent days where...
Here, let me turn this off a bit. Sorry, I forgot to turn this one off. We had a little background noise there. Restarting this clip.
Just a quick follow on the video you
Sure.
were talking about.
Yeah.
There were two instances in recent days where leaders, former President Obama and Georgia Meloni of Italy, they physically put hands on the president to guide him and show him
Bedtime, Joe.
stage directions. Are they doing that on their own, or has anybody asked them to run the show like that?
First of all, let me spoke to the most recent, right? And as we saw on Saturday, President Obama's office put out a statement. So I would refer you to that statement about what was being accused in those by others. And he said this did not happen in the sense of what people were saying they were seeing, right? Or what was being falsely reported that they were seeing. Let's not forget, President Obama, President Biden have a relationship. They are friends. They're like family to each other. And I think that's what you saw. You saw the president put his hand on the back of President Biden, and they walked off the stage after
Right into bed.
taking questions.
We got him 2 scoops.
At an event, taking questions from Jimmy Kimmel. That is what you saw. But I would refer you to President Obama's office statement. They talked about this, they discussed this, and they came out with it pretty quickly.
Meloni,
All right.
you wanted to say something about
Meloni, I don't have anything. I don't know specifically what happened with Meloni.
The parachute.
the parachutist.
Oh, I mean, look, that was, as I said, it was a cheap, a cheap fake. That was definitely a cheap fake. It was. This was widely fact-checked.
What?
That video was widely fact-checked, including by conservatives media, on what happened, what occurred. The president walked over to give a thumbs up to divers who had just landed right in front of him. And if you run that tape a little bit longer, you would see what was happening, what the president was actually doing, and it is a cheap fake. That is what
about nothing, and he's totally normal.
What I'm saying is, this is a president, right? Let's step back for a second.
Ooh, Karine.
Instead of and I said this moments ago, instead of Republicans, focusing on the president's performance in office and what he's been able to accomplish, his actual record, they do these cheap fakes. They're cheap fakes. And you're asking me about the Meloni, you're asking me what happened. That video was, okay, let's talk about Juneteenth. The president stood there listening to the music and he didn't dance. Excuse me, I did not know not dancing was a health issue. That is a weird thing to actually flag when if you
listen, Karine, it wasn't that. Okay, this is the Juneteenth video, which we did not play here, but he's just kind of standing there. It's not like he's not dancing. It's like he's frozen like a dead person, like a corpse standing there. Weekend at Bernie's. That's what we're wondering. Okay, everybody else was dancing. I'm not a big dancer, but maybe you have a little move to it, a little back and forth. And even Kamala's husband was not. I mean, he was not doing a good job putting out the vibes. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, he looked pretty rough too. So I'm not you don't have to dance, but you should look like you're alive, like you have blood flowing, like a human being. That's what we're talking about.
If you look at the people who are around him, you look at the expanded video of the people who are around him, they were not.
Other people weren't dancing.
There were some folks who were not dancing either.
Yeah, and
that has been fact checked. I mean, just because.
Yeah, so our president's great, okay, because he doesn't have to dance if he doesn't want to, and other people aren't dancing either. It's like, what are we? This is our White House right now. This is our press briefing right now. And if you're explaining something like this, you're just automatically losing. If you have to come explain 3 separate instances in 4 minutes, Meloni, Juneteenth, and this most recent one, it's like, oh, you're in big trouble.
You're standing up, listening to music and not dancing. That is not a health issue. That is just not a health issue.
Majorities of American voters who are telling pollsters repeatedly for years now that they have serious concerns about this president's cognitive fitness are being misled by cheap fake videos?
I'm saying that there have been, in recent weeks, there have been cheap fakes videos that have been fact-checked. They've been fact-checked by conservative media as well, to say that these videos are false. They're purposefully being altered.
So
that is
what is being altered about those videos? You mean it's being edited? You mean it's being clipped? It's taken out of context? What is being altered? What pixels got moved around? Did Joe Biden really not go over there to the parachute people? Was that made up? Did Obama not grab his hand? What is she talking about?
Look,
It's fine.
the president has done more in his 3.5 years as president than most modern day president. And what he's been able to deliver. He's able to do that because he knows what he's doing. He knows how to deliver for the American people. He's able to make sure that we attack climate crisis with the Inflation Reduction Act. He's made sure that we were able to create 15 million jobs, 800,000 manufacturing jobs. He was able to make sure that unemployment went down. He was able to make sure that we are able to have Medicaid actually able to negotiate with pharmaceutical companies, something that no other president has been able to do. This president has been able to do. I think that tells you everything that you need to do by looking at his record. And what you're seeing right now is Republicans, instead of talking what I just listed about, what I just talked about, they're really diving into these cheap fake videos. And it's in bad faith. That's what I'm saying. What they're doing is pure bad faith, and it's been fact-checked by many, including conservative fact-checkers.
Brutal. Just an absolute demolishment. I don't know that she could have done any worse than that. I don't know whose idea this was, but it really sounds bad. It sounds like they're having to explain multiple instances of Joe Biden's clear missteps and dementia. So having a tough time. Now, what they did is they worked really hard to try to keep any video from leaking out at this event, but unfortunately for them, some did. Good for us so we can see how Joe's doing. We got 2 clips. One was from today, and this one was from the actual event where Obama led him off the stage. And you can see why Obama might want to take him off the stage, because this is what his performance sounded like.
The economy's growing, people are doing better. We have the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years. We have more people. We've had over 15 million people brand new hired into the workforce. You know, my son says you ought to have you know, we all have various short-term descriptions for your jobs, for what you accomplished. And you should say Joe Jobs. And guess what?
Okay. So that's Obama. I got to tell you, man, Obama's got a pretty good poker face. Like, as Joe was speaking, I'm like wincing. I'm like, that's our president? Oh, gosh. Obama's like, don't blink. Don't even move. Don't make any movements at all. That's what it sounds like in there. So, and is popping off at that jacket button right there. That jacket button is like, it's gonna make some World War comment right there. It's like the front in Ukraine right there. It's just about to blow. So we've got Obama there, who's doing his very best to keep this presidency on track, because Biden is just absolutely losing it. Here's another one. This one I think came from today. Not really sure what this is or what's happening here or what this is, but I think it's time to put Grandpa back to bed because he's just a little too cranky today. One more time. Yikes. Oh, man, another cheap fake. Man, I did it again. More cheap fakes here on this channel. Karine is going to be so mad at me when I play this video, but this is another real video of Karine, okay? This is real. Karine Jean-Pierre came out and she confirmed to us, this is true, this is not misinformation, that Obama is not in charge of this White House.
You know, there's been zero evidence.
Karine Jean-Pierre.
Zero evidence. You can ask me, how can Obama be the hidden puppet master for this administration? But there's no evidence. There's no evidence. There's no evidence that Obama is Joe's puppet master. There's none. Absolutely none.
You're right, Karine.
None. And that is just a fact. You can't say that it looks like my hair is the dirty mop the janitor is looking for.
All right. I don't know where that's going, but all right. So Karine, I don't know what she's talking about. There's no deep fakes at all. It's all real. It's all real out there. Okay. So actually that one was not real, right? That was Obama as Karine. That's what an actual deep fake looks like, Karine. Hello. We can tell the difference. The things that Joe Biden is doing, those are real. Those are not deep fakes. They're not cheap fakes. There is a pattern here. This dude cannot even function. He's got to be walked off stage. So I don't know what Karine's problem is, all right? It's all real. Even Obama. This is actually mostly real, by the way. The video is fake, but it's pretty much real. I mean, Obama is running the administration. We all know that's the truth. So Biden absolutely ridiculed, as they should be. What kind of a stupid PR adjustment is this? They're going to just say that our eyes are lies. The things that we're seeing should not be believed. It's all manipulated, taken out of context. And if you doubt us for a minute here, Karine said it's been fact-checked by the Washington Post and conservatives. So just deal with it, America. All right. So that is, of course, our presidency. I don't know what's going to happen with them when they put him on the debate stage. It's going to be terrible. We can't wait to watch. And we're going to be here continuing to cover, my friends. So if you like this video, if you like this channel, we'd love to have you back here. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for inviting someone you know or love to come over here and check us out. The algorithm doesn't give us a lot of love out there. So we're very appreciative when you introduce somebody to our content, our work, and the community that we're building here, because we're having some fun. We're covering some good ground, and we can't wait to see you back here and on this next video, so we can see you on that one and back here on the next one. All right, my friends. Well, let's see. We covered some good ground on the day. Cheap fakes and deep fakes apparently are responsible for our demented president. 24 states now joining Trump to fight the gag in Florida. And Jack Smith's deadly force cover-up attempt is continuing in Florida after they tried to execute our president, our favorite president. And now, my friends, it's time to hear from you. I see some amazing donos that have come in. We got a bunch of new membos we're welcoming in. Thank you so much for being here and supporting us. We love our membos. We do members-only streams in the morning and shows on Saturday. We'd love to have you come join us. and after parties at watchingthewatchers.locals.com. We'll see you over there. My friends, we had some new membos come in today. What's up, CGI Joe? Bringing in 10 new membos. Look who's coming in. What's up, CGI Joe? Thanks for being a membo. Bringing in Muffin Rando. Janine S is here. Holly D, what's up? Starlet S, W Daisy Girl. We got Patty H, Carol M. The old bag is here. Renee B, Michelle B, and welcome aboard, courtesy of CGI Joe. Thank you, CGI Joe, for bringing in new membos. Hey, Tony Hay Munkets is bringing in some membos. KM just got brought in. And Scott P, welcome aboard. Good to see you, Tony Hay. It's a beautiful Monday. What's up, Glenn Croy? 10 more membos coming in. Amazing. James H is in the house. Brenda A. We got Charles S. We have Frank W. Aussie N. Wiz is here. David S. Glenn Croy got a wait a minute. Glenn Croy gifted himself a membo. It's like inception of membos. We got Bill C. and Mimi and Pink all in the house. Welcome aboard. Hey, Glenn, thanks for bringing yourself and 9 other people in. What's up? Don't Matters in the house as a new supporter. Great to see you. And Tony Hay Munkets is bringing in 5 membos. Tony Hay, you rock. Thanks for bringing in Tina S. G. Ricketson. We got this one, Original G. LJC number 8's in the house. And Kim R. All gifted membos, courtesy of Tony Hay Munkets. Hey, it's the Munkets. Hey, and what's up? Gloria B. with a very nice reminder. Thank you, Gloria. Like this and share this if you haven't already. Yeah, who is that one person in your phone book that just has to hear this video? Who is it? You know who it is. Let's get them over here. What's up, Tony Hay? Good to see you. Snoopy Sin, bring it. Tony Hay, more membos. Snoopy Sin is here. Donna G, a pear tree is here. Kim R, and Mother of Papillions in the house, courtesy of Tony Hay Munkets. Thank you, Tony, for bringing in our new membos. What's up, Debbie L in the house? Welcome aboard, Debbie L. Nice to have you as a membo. And Glenn Croy is bringing in even more membos. So many. We got Kimberly A, Melissa R, Texas Ditch Doctors in the house. Dale D in the house, and Bourne, great to see you. Welcome aboard, our new friends. And Tony Hayes bringing in some more as well. We got Tommy C's here, Rob P, Barbara Joe, Pied Piper's here, and Davies Fire, courtesy of Tony Hay Munkets. Thank you, Tony Hay, for bringing in the new membos. We got this one from Alice Elizabeth on Locals. What's up, Alice? Nice to see you. Says, if Dems are crying deepfake, it means confession through projection. We already saw some manipulation with the J6 videos. There will be more. I'm guessing they'll make Trump have a deepfake senior moment during the debates. That's an interesting one. Yeah, or they'll make it up. They'll just make it. Oh, look at this one. They'll spread that one around. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of that going on. There's a lot. It feels like there's a lot of political operations happening right now, from stuff that feels astroturfed all over the place. What's up? Milo Phone Bill is here. Says, these cats played with the pizza. These cats played with the pizza. Shh. These cats played with the pizza. Shh. Well, that cat is DJing some pizza. I happen to love pizza, man. It's just probably eat too much pizza. I can't help it. What's up? ELF, Elf in the house, bringing in 10 new membos. Terry F is here. What's up, Magic Stick? We got That's Hot Air, Sup Force G, Fizbin G, Mike H, Miko Star, Matthew, Carl K, and Nana 1776 in the house. New membos, courtesy of Elf. Thank you, Elf, for being a membo, bringing in 10 new membos. And Alpha She-Wolf is doing the same. Alpha She-Wolf, amazing. Thank you for being a membo. Bringing in Natasha M. If Josh Can't Fix It is here. West Virginia Snipers here. Michael M. and Will Wallace in the house, courtesy of Alpha She-Wolf. Thank you, Alpha. We got this one from Cowboy Rob. If they sent pallets full of classified documents, how in the heck would they know if Trump even knows what documents he has? Exactly right. Yeah, they're trying to show that there was knowledge of obstruction and intent, and they don't know. And the idea is if the documents are shifted out of order, then you also can't pinpoint when stuff was added to the box because it's all out of order. And so one of Trump's defenses would be, well, these got added after the fact, and he hasn't touched it or seen it since that time. Now you don't know. What's up, Alpha She-Wolf? Thanks for bringing in. Said, hey, 13 months as a membo. That is a year plus one. Welcome all new membos. Alpha She-Wolf, thanks for doing that. Thanks for bringing them in. Tony Hay Munkets bringing in 5 more. We got this one from Tony Hay. We got B. Pettingill in the house. Tack Pays here. Dan just came in. Salty's Doghouse coming in. And Matthew T. All gifted membos, courtesy of Tony Hay Munkets in the house. Thank you, Tony Hay. This one came in from Milo Phone Bill. This one says, let's see what this one looks like. Says Jack Smith files a gag order to stop Trump from talking on the campaign trail. Jack Smith files a gag order to stop Trump from talking on the campaign trail. And here's what this GIF looks like once he does that. Yeah, he's going through it, man. I feel it. Definitely feel the pain. Chubby, what's up? Follow Jack Smith's example. I stubbed my pinky toe on my right foot the other day. Hit it really bad, even lost the nail. Sounds painful. Because Jack Smith keeps saying bad things about the right wing, and this was my right pinky toe, it's obviously Jack's fault that I befall such violence. It was clearly caused by his dangerous rhetoric. I demand that he be gagged for the next 17 years. Yeah. Well, under the Jack Smith standard, Chubby, you should be successful because you're a danger to all of us. And Jack's a danger to all of us, and we could all lose our toes. So he should be gagged. You're right. Glocky, what's up? I don't know what to say. I literally don't have words. I have questions, but that's about it. Nick Sorter posted this. He says, just in, a Secret Service agent was robbed at gunpoint in California during Biden's visit this weekend. I kid you not. You can't make this stuff up. Press release, Tustin. On Saturday, Tustin police officers responded to the call. Residential community on arrival. Officers discovered the victim, member, U.S. Secret Service. Bag was stolen at gunpoint. During the incident, an officer-involved agent shooting occurred. Suspects were not located. Unknown whether the suspects were injured. Officers have located some of the belongings. Still being investigated. No idea. Yeah, all right. Well, that sounds about right. Why else wouldn't that happen? It's California. Hey, here's one from Glocky. This is the Joe Biden postage stamp. 0 cents. 0 cents. Get it? Because he makes 0 cents. What's up? Tony Hay Munkets. More membos coming in. Lisa's here. We got Mark M. SDDs coming in. Pamela F. And Liquid Rock Aquatics. All gifted membos courtesy of Tony Hay Munkets. Bringing in 5 new membos. Iconic Meerkat, what's up? Bringing in 5 more. Explore America is here. Andrew D, William T, Jonathan, and Jane F, all gifted membos, courtesy of Iconic. Man, we have so many membos today. Our members only morning stream in the morning is going to be lit. Cowboy Rob says, how about a motion that Your Honor should not rule on anything until she rules on if Jack Smith is legitimately a special prosecutor? This, agreed. They don't do anything by the book, says Lisa. Good to see you guys. Yeah. Hopefully we get that ruling soon. That'd be very nice. I have my doubts that she disqualifies him. I don't want to be a downer, but I sort of have my doubts on it. But we'll see. He is illegitimate, and maybe SCOTUS will do something about that once they appeal that up. What's up, Beth Coddington, farmer's daughter in the house. Good to see you, Beth. Thanks for stopping by. Says, hey, Sweetums. Hello, everyone. Go Hawkeye State. Go Hawkeye State from Beth Coddington. Good to see you, Sweetums. Back at you, Beth. Knox is here. Says, happy Monday, all. Amazing. Twins are home. So, my friends, those watcher prayers that we sent back some time ago are working. Twins are home. They made it on time for Father's Day. Granny went nuts and ordered those giant storks for their front yard. I will have pics tomorrow. Amazing, Knox. Great update. Thanks for that. My friends, those of you who send those prayers out there, thanks for doing that. They work. They matter. Essential Bites is a membo for 4 months. Says Florida native fighters by birth. Good to see you, Essential. Florida native fighters by birth in the DNA. Membo for 4 months, almost halfway to a baby. Glenn C, 14 months. Woo! Salty Army. Hey, shout out to our Salty Army friends. Good to see you guys. Glenn Croy loves watching the Watchers. Whee! Love you guys back. Thanks for being here. 14 months, Glenn. Good to see you. Shout out to our Salty Army friends. And Glocky's here. Says, all right, the Biden White House is apparently working to kill a bill that would require presidents to disclose any foreign income their family receives if they're conducting business. Rep. Katie Porter worked with James Comer on the bipartisan bill, lined up 3 Democrats to support these new ethics requirements. But after the White House contacted those Democrats, Porter says all 3 suddenly withdrew their support. Incredible. That makes sense to me. Why would they want to do that? Text Rick, Rob, can you elaborate on election interference, which we hear constantly, yet I never heard what actual laws specifically address the claim. Love my watchers' daily dose. Well, I'm not good question, Tex Rick. I'm not real sure what the question is, yet I've never heard what actual laws specifically address the claim. I'm having a hard time understanding the question. Like, do you want me to talk about election interference in general? Like what constitutes election interference? I would say, like in 2020, I think a lot created election interference, and you can pick. We've just stuff we've covered, I think, just recently would be in Michigan, for example. Jocelyn Benson created an illegal presumption of validity for signatures. So the Secretary of State created a legal standard called the presumption of validity that says that signatures are just presumed valid, which means you don't actually check them. So I would say that that was election interference. Now that rule has changed, and now she's not allowed to do that in this new election in 2024, even though she tried to. So she tried to say it's a preliminary or an initial presumption of validity. So when you hear them talk about waiving signature requirements, that's one example. Another form of election interference, I would say, came from the DOJ or the FBI when they were censoring people's free speech on Twitter. That's election interference by the DOJ. I would say that those were violations of our rights. So you could charge them with conspiracy against rights for violating our First Amendment rights as co-conspirators. You could have a RICO, claim. Just throw everything else they're throwing at Trump right back at him. And I think the list goes on and on. I mean, we have they moved election dates for when ballots were due. They waived signature requirements waived them in other states. They authorized ballot drop. They changed a bunch of the election rules by judges and by secretaries of states, and they're not allowed to do that. So every election change that happened that was outside of the condoning of the legislature, which is responsible for passing election rules, was illegal, in my opinion, or unconstitutional. So there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot that's going on. And right now, I would say that the weaponized prosecutions are election interference. The 51 intelligence agents, the CIA, that was election interference. So there's a lot of them. And what laws those violate, I think you could come up with a whole list of criminal laws that any one of those things violates. But you'd have to dig into the statutes and figure out what those are. But the ones that we always refer to are just conspiracy against rights. They're conspiring to diminish our vote. Your vote has a value to it. They're trying to diminish that. And they're trying to suppress your free speech on X or on Twitter by having the FBI censor you. They're limiting your ability to hear from candidates, which is the suppression of our free speech rights under the First Amendment. Long list. Great question. What's up? This one came in from Eddie Van Zant. You just glossed over Texas when you read the intro of that legal motion. It's Texas with a motion. Did I skip over Texas? I didn't mean to do it if I did. T.A. Holloway that says there must be severe punishment. Sorry, Texas. Don't get mad at me. I love you guys. I love Texas. The great state of Texas. There must be severe punishment for everyone involved in the fake impeachments, the lawfare, the election interference in 2020, 2022, and now. What they've done is indistinguishable from outright treason. Yeah, I think what they've done is illegal, and I'm looking forward to them being prosecuted for it. Whether it's treason or not, it remains to be seen. But a lot of it is a very big problem. And if Trump is being prosecuted for this made up stuff, what they've done is actual criminality. They do it they have the power, so they say it's not criminal. But once they no longer have the power, I think a sober person would review their misconduct and disagree. Eddie Van Zant from the great state of Texas. I just thought about it. You're just jealous that Texas has Ken Paxton. I am. Yeah, I can't even fight you on that. Does Arizona even have an attorney general? Not really. Not really. If so, why have I never heard of them? Weak, Rob. It's really, I know, Eddie. I feel bad. I should feel bad. We have Chris Mays here. No, we don't even have an attorney general. No, we don't. I am jealous of the great state of Texas. We're trying to be more like you guys. We're working on it. Hey, Dolphin Fan is the man in the house. We got Scott Larson coming in. Thank you, Dolphin Fan, for bringing in 10 new membos. Great to see you. We got this one from Scott L. Ladybug. We got Kathy G coming in. Chandler D, Philip H, Carlos is here, Mrs. Hayes, what's up, Scott M, Wayward One, and Nigel W, all gifted membos, courtesy of Dolphin Fan is the man in the house. Hey, Sheila P, 10 more membos. Man, so many amazing membos. Calsman is here. James P, Schechter's coming in. American S, B-Train, what's up, Namad? John D, ran out of channel names is here. Grumpy Deplorable and Kitchen Mortician, gifted membos, courtesy of Sheila P. Thank you, Sheila, for bringing in the newest of membos. Hey, this one from Zutral says, thank you, Rob, for the fun vibes and another great show to start the week. Thank you, Zutral. Hey, thanks for being a member for a full year, too. Look at that diamond on locals. Great to see you, Zutral. Thanks for saying that. Hope you're doing well, my friend. And I think we're going to see you in Vegas, right? Roy MC, the best explanation of Obama leading Joe was it's like watching someone leading your drunk uncle away at a party. Drunk uncle's pretty good. Yeah, drunk uncle's pretty good. You're okay. You're okay. Come on. Like, you're going to make it out. Come on. You're fine. Let's go. You're going to be okay. Just, okay. If you got to puke, though, just tell me right now. All right. Alice Elizabeth says, tussled your hair once. I did that? I tussled my hair once today? Or you tussled my hair once? Tussled your hair once? You did for me? When was that? When was that, Alice? Good to see you, Alice. Thanks for being a member over on the locals. Hey, Lisa, member for 4 months, almost halfway to a baby, says, love my Watchers family. We love you back, Lisa. Thanks for being a member, for being here. We love you back. Thanks for the great emojis. This one from this old guy says, Joe becomes more and more clueless daily. Yeah, it's getting rough. And that one that we played today of him, what are you doing? You're the president. You're not supposed to bark at people, weirdo. All right, Knox says, it's not just the, quote, leading of Biden. He has neurogate. Every dementia patient walks that way. Yeah, that's true. It's not like, it's everything. It's not just the wrist hold. It's the whole way he moves. We can all see it. We all just know it. So they have to come up with cheap fakes as though that's going to work. They're going to keep beating that into our head. It's a cheap fake. It's a cheap fake. It's a cheap fake. It's to try to brainwash people into believing that. You'll probably hear it all over the cable. You'll hear Rachel Maddow, inside Jen Psaki will be shouting it from the rooftops. Knox is here. What is wrong with Karine's face? It looks bloated and swollen. Well, she probably was doing a lot of preparation for that conversation today, trying to figure out how to answer that question. She was rehearsing cheap fake. Got up extra early this morning saying cheap fake in the mirror for 4 hours before she went out there. Hey, Nitty Linny says Karine Jean must have a battalion of firefighters on standby. That and an endless supply of pants because, liar, liar, pants on fire. Good to see you, Nitty Linny. Yeah, it's like, it's amazing that she probably goes home and is just thrilled. I did a great job today. And everybody in her orbit, you did a great job today. And she thinks she's a historic figure who's just swishing the ball. But she's clearly not. It's kind of embarrassing. This old guy. Biden's reactions to things happening around him would be accurately described as absence seizures. Interesting. I haven't heard that phrase before. But is that kind of the same thing that Senator Mitch McConnell does? We know that he does that too sometimes. Yeah, he shouldn't be president either. All right, Cowboy Rob says, deep fakes kind of sounds like deep states. Just saying, or could that be where the deep fakes are coming from? Could that be where the deep fakes are coming from? Deep states, deep fakes, cheap fakes, all the things. This one's from Gigam Gigam. This is probably one of my more favorite clips here. Because you can just feel the horror in my face. I forget what clip this was, but oh gosh, that's our president talking. Oh, like I remember the clip. It was like terrible. Like that was my reaction to it. What the heck? What's he talking about? No Cowakin. Okay, that was like a year ago. That was like a full year ago. Okay, like that. He's gotten way worse since this one. No Cowakin. And I don't even remember what he was saying at the time, but it was pretty bad, obviously. No Cowakin. Biden will be leaving soon for another failed Democrat to continue destroying America. It is more about Democrats than Biden. A 6-year-old can do his job. I think that's probably true. 6-year-olds love ice cream, and they like to sleep a lot too, probably. So yeah, I think easily slot him in, no problem. Richard Grinnell says, Melania Trump to log cabin Republicans, welcome to my home. Melania Trump set to host a fundraiser for the log cabin Republicans on July 8th at Trump Tower. Interesting from Richard Grinnell. Good to see you. Thank you for that flag, Glocky. Rabbit Stick, Membo for 7 months, says Garland just, oh yeah, Brian Malinowski. All right, is that the gentleman who we lost? Malinowski, right? This was the one over the weekend. Yeah, 2 days ago. Yeah, prosecutor declines to charge the ATF shooting of a Little Rock airport director. Says the agent was justified. So they show up. ATF shows up, shoots, kills this dude, and then nobody gets charged as execution of a search warrant. Amazing. Hey, Goofy for Jesus says the CP3 meme is awesome. His Trump, Sanford, and Son episodes are epic. Great show as usual. The chat rocks. Good to see you, Goofy for Jesus. Yeah, Sean says the chat is the show. Kudos. That is for sure. 100% on that one too. John says, all right, Glocky shared this one. Says Trump is screwing up by doing the CNN debate. He's going to blow his election chances, not just for him, but for everyone backing him. They're going to hammer him and lie about him, January 6th, abortion, everything else. He needs to reject it. I think I can understand that position, but I think Trump is in the final scene of Batman, where the only thing he has is his little rappel clip and like one bat ninja star. So that's all he's got. And he's still going to blow up the whole friggin' thing. It's all he needs. It's Act 3. So he can go in there. They can hit him with everything that they possibly want. I don't think it's going to matter, honestly. I think it'll make him look more like a martyr, if anything. Everybody's going to see how rigged this is against him. And then they'll, I think, wake up. I'm hopeful. I've been having some interesting conversations with other people. I had a great one today. I'll tell you about it later. Knox is here. I think they're giving Biden steroids for the dementia. That would cause that bulbous stomach punch right here with that button that's like Joe Biden's presidency. Hey, Jennifer. What's up, Jennifer? A final super chat for you today, Robert. Amazing, Jennifer. I got to save some cash for the slots in Vegas, baby. Heck yeah. We're going to see you there, Jennifer. I can't wait to see you. It's going to be fun. Muffin Rando says, play one for me. And good luck, Sean. Yeah, hit it. Especially in Trump Hotel. Come out with the jackpot there. Good to see you, Jennifer. Thanks for that. And we'll put a super chat on red when we go there. Whatever. Well, on one color. Cowboy Rob says maybe we'll do a poll. And we'll put some on, we'll do a poll before we go to Vegas. We'll put some money on a roulette table. Hey, Cowboy Rob says, I predict some shenanigans will be afoot at the debates because it has me worried that no one is allowed there from Trump's party. Yeah, I'll be surprised if it even happens. His pick-me-ups wear off too fast. I've been seeing some other headlines about whether they're going to try to get Joe Biden seated. Like they're going to try to modify the debate rules to see if they can just have him seated because he can't stand. We'll see. It feels like it's... To be honest, it feels like it's kind of a suicide mission if they're putting Joe out there. I don't know what they're doing that for, but who knows? eGrab, what's up? My last 10 coins just for you. eGrab, thank you for that. Thanks for the daily entertainment. Love you and the chat. Thank you so much for sending that in, eGrab. Great to see you. Thanks for jumping in and for saying hello and for sending some love our way. Cowboy Rob says, couldn't any DA file charges against Jack Smith for election interference? Theoretically, but I think it would be it'd be a better claim if you did it in Florida because they would have more jurisdiction there. Like he took action in their states. Because what would happen right now is I think they would say there's no jurisdiction, honestly. Like you'd file charges in California or in Arizona, let's say. And they'd say, well, Jack Smith hasn't done anything in Arizona. Well, he's prosecuting Trump. And so he's harming the American citizens by gagging the president. And he's out of state. So would that be a crime? So criminal charges, generally, there has to be some misconduct in the geographic jurisdiction. That's why you can't get a DUI in Texas and be charged in Arizona. So what is the conduct that took place in the state? So I think Jack might be better right for federal crimes or for like a local Florida crime since he's prosecuting in Florida. Or if he did something else in one of the other states, I think those would be better claims. Hey, J-Man, what's up? Hey, Rob, check out U.S. Code Title 5, Part 2, Chapter 12, Subchapter 2, Subsection B. Jack Smith should be removed post-heist. May Cannon feel the strength to kick him? Says Cannon is doing the right thing, hearing all the objections, and then we'll rule on this later. Good to see you, J-Man. Interesting one. Robin P. What's up, Robin? Nice dono. Thank you for that one, Robin. No comment on that one, but a very nice dono. And Warrior Heart says, all this mess KJP is spewing is just part of her having less than 5 brain cells left. Yeah, probably 5. Yeah, give her 5 plus or minus 2, maybe. Beth, what's up? I wish Pennsylvania would stand strong like those other 24. You and me both, Beth. I wish Pennsylvania was there. I wish Arizona was in there. We've got some work to do. J-Man says, it's a fake. We literally watched it live. Saying it's a fake? We literally watched it live, says J-Man. Yeah, certainly sounds like that. They call it a fake. We know it's not. Crash Bandit on Local says, Rob, they always say there was no widespread voter fraud. That would have affected the 2020 election. Could we consider the secretaries of state not following their own laws to be that widespread voter fraud? I would say so. Yeah, but they would say that the secretaries were following the law because the courts, remember, everything was done on the back of COVID emergencies. It depends what you're asking about, but a lot of the electoral changes were changed based on COVID emergencies. It's an emergency, therefore we get the presumption of validity, or therefore we can select ballot drop boxes or whatever. And these were judges and secretaries of states that were coming to basically settlement agreements to change the rules. Now, the legislatures didn't change those rules. So the rules were changed, I would say, out of turn. But the secretaries just followed the new settlement agreements, not what the law says. And they were allowed to do that because the courts allowed it. They enabled them. So it depends on how you and I would call that fraud. They would say it's not fraudulent because they followed the rules. I would say, no, but you didn't, though. A lot of those changes have now been challenged. Okay, so for example, Jocelyn Benson just lost the presumption of validity. So her presumption of validity as it stood in 2020 was not right. So it was fraudulent. It's only been rectified 4 years later. So that's one area. Now, the DOJ warning Hunter Biden, the DOJ suppressing the Biden laptop and the story, all of that I would say is widespread voter fraud as well. And that's not just the secretaries who were involved in that. Former LEO says, when former and future POTUS Trump assumes his rightful office, will he be able to sic his DOJ on Fulton County's DA and the judiciary for RICO violations? Sounds like a good theory to me. I don't know what Fannie was colluding with the White House counsel with Kamala Harris. Yeah, I'd say perfectly appropriate. Robin Phillips says Jack Smith is illegitimate and must be removed. We'll see if Cannon does it. Clock is ticking on that. Hey, what's up? Judgmental in the house. Membo for 1 month. First month as a membo. First month's the hardest. It gets easier from there. Here's to many more, Judgmental. Cheers to you, my friends. Here's to many more. Thanks for joining up. Rob, it's called a Batarang, okay? Sorry about that. Yeah, Batman Ninja Star is called a Batarang. They're pretty cool. He's one of the coolest. Hey, Charles G. Thanks, Rob. Always informative and entertaining. I look forward to watching your streams like I used to watch the NFL. That is a real compliment, Charles. Thanks for the nice dono, man. Thanks for being a membo and for joining us. I really enjoy going through this stuff together. I have a ton of fun. I learn a lot. I learn a lot from you. And I'm glad that you're here. Good to see you, Charles. Really a nice comment. This one from Robin P. DNC celebrate. Poopy Joe secures 110% of the over 120 years old deceased votes. Isn't that nice? Yeah. Well, I'm sure maybe we'll see some more 2 a.m. ballot drops again. Good to see you, Robin. Hopefully it does not happen. Poopy Joe, all the dead people vote 35 times. Joe Biden's reelected again. Got it. All right. Thank you for those. Robin, thank you for that. And amazing donos. And great comments. This one is an interesting comment from Aussie Kev. Says, yeah, the Secret Service points a gun, right? What happens? This is a hypothetical, I think. If the Secret Service points a gun at the FBI, then bullets start going off. Trump might be taken out in the crossfire. Not good. And all right, so that is from Aussie Kev. Great to see you, Aussie. Thanks for sending that in. Membo for 5 months, over halfway to a baby. Let's say hello to our friends on X before we go on over to Locals and hang out for a bit and see what some of those amazing comments look like. We have some friends on X who are chatting away, dropping some comments over there. Miss S is in the house. And we got Retired Dave. Good to see you. Ben T says Joey was just sharing his D-Day experience with the parachutists. Yeah. When I stormed the beaches of Omaha, says Joe. Polly says, was Robert Herr's report a cheap fake too? Good question, Polly. Great show today, Rob. Thank you for the laughs and helping to keep us sane during these bizarre times. Thank you, Polly, for keeping us sane here. And those are some great comments over on the X platform. And you can go follow us over there, Rob Govea, ESQ, if you want to check out what we're doing over there. Also a lot of fun to follow other watchers out there in the wild. But that, my friends, is it for us on the day. We are going over to watchingthewatchers.locals.com. Right now, we're going to debrief. We also do streams in the morning. And so if you're over there or a member on YouTube, we'll see you back here in the morning as well to hang out and to debrief. We've got, this is a very interesting photograph. Wow. Okay. This is coming in from Jigam Gigam. Jigam says, come on, Cannon. Here is a new meme. Judge Cannon is Wonder Woman balancing the Constitution and our political prisoner, Trump. That's a spicy one from Jigam. Thank you for that one, Jigam. For our meme smith Jigam, who we're about to say hello to in a minute, we've got our Watcher Lodge website, which is where you can go sign up, get a ticket to our meetup, which is taking place on June 29th, 12 days from today. Woo! It's going to be fun. So grab your ticket. Come on out to Vegas, Trump Hotel in Las Vegas, 12 to 5 at watcherlodge.com. Get your tickets. Come have lunch with us and have an amazing time. We also want to thank our mods and our meme smiths, including the amazing Jigam Gigam we just saw, Elliot, our Dockmaster, Glocky McGlock, Nathan, N810, and Sleepy Dog Lee in the house. We got our mods and our meme smiths, Zulu, Carrie B, Donut Mind Me. We got Economy Pilot, Dog Digger, Janek, Zach Nichols, Ronnie Cole, Playing Hooky, Just Cause, and K Bean in the house. Modding the fort down for us. And John McGarvey, Donut Mind Me, clipping away for us on the day. Very grateful for the help. Carrie B was this morning, and K Bean as well. We got the best mods, but my friends, that is it for us on the day. We are going on over to watchingthewatchers.locals.com, which is where we're going to debrief and have our members only after party. And we would love to see you there. But if not, well, that's okay, because we're going to be back here tomorrow to get into it again. And in order to do that, we're going to need to see you right back here so that together, with your help, we can shine that big, beautiful spotlight of accountability and transparency down upon our system with the hope of finding justice. Make it a beautiful night and an amazing week, my friends. I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye-bye.